Hi everyone, this is our channel, Meet the Real Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
Hello, my name is Benjamin and I'm 17 years old. I am sitting in a court waiting to hear my sentence, my punishment. When you listen to my story, you may pity me. My story started 3 years ago when my parents died in a train crash. My father was a businessman and my mother was just a housewife. The news of their death was a big shock to me because I couldn't imagine my life without them. I was forced to move in with my grandparents. The hardest period of my life was about to start. My relationship with them wasn't that close. They lived in a city far away from my home, so I visited them in the past only a few days every year. When I heard my friends talking about the generosity of their grandparents, I wondered why, because mine never gave me any presents or showed me any kindness at all. My grandparents lived austere lives, so living with them was hard for me. They were stingy and cheap. Despite living in a villa, we all ate plain meals that barely supplied me adequate nourishment. In addition, we only ate one meal a day. I was always hungry. My room was infested with insects. The furniture was worn and torn. They paid the servant a minimal wage, so her work was minimal as well. I would always sneak into the kitchen to steal anything I could find in the fridge to eat. When I asked my grandparents why they were living so minimally, they said it was because they were saving money for the future. When they eventually figured out that I was stealing food from the refrigerator, they locked it closed at night. Do you believe that? One day, when I entered the study to speak with Grandpa, his safe was open and I glimpsed gold bars, a hefty pile of cash, and a mound of jewelry. When he saw me enter, he slammed the safe closed and gave me a cold look. At midnight, I happened to go to the bathroom, and while returning to my bedroom, I overheard Grandpa say, "Eat fast before he wakes up." I looked through a slot in the door to see them eating delicious food. Grandma said, "I don't know why you insisted on letting him move in with us." He replied, "Well, I couldn't let people see me abandon an orphaned grandson." She said, "I wish I could wake up one day and find him gone." Her words were like a knife through my heart. I decided then and there that they deserved to die. I wished that they had died instead of my parents. I waited until they went to sleep. Then I entered their room, took the key from their bedside, went to the safe, and stole all their money, gold, and jewelry, and put it in my backpack. Then I loosened a heating gas fitting in their bedroom, allowing it to leak into their room. Then I exited, closed the door, and sealed the bottom of the door with a towel. The next morning I took a bus to another town, intending to take the train to get even further away. In the meantime, the police discovered the death of my grandparents. They also discovered that there were security cameras around their villa that had recorded everything I did. As I sat there in the train station, I saw this news on a TV in the waiting area. They were showing my face from earlier news stories when my parents had died in the train crash. Everyone around me was looking at me. It seemed I was a dead ringer for the murder suspect. I was arrested, taken to court, tried, and found guilty on 2 counts of cold-blooded murder. So here I sit, waiting to hear my sentence. I am ready for any punishment. I feel no remorse. Given another chance, I would do it again. Hello, my name is Adrian and I am 27 years old. I'm an archaeologist and the leader of an archaeological team. We have recorded many archaeological discoveries and earned many honors in our country. We are renowned and popular with the media. Yet, in spite of all my achievements, I wasn't satisfied. My dream in life was to discover the hidden gold of King Pedro, the second king of Peru. He was reputed in many legends to have possessed a vast treasure of gold. However, there was no concrete evidence of this. For all I knew, it may have been just old wives' tales passed down through the generations. I was the only one I knew who took the legend seriously. King Pedro had been famous for his power and strength. The stories mentioned that he had many hidden underground treasures, so there was at least a chance that these stories and legends might be true. I started my journey by searching the internet for maps and data from any previous expeditions to Peru. I read their notes, logs, and experiences there. I found a lot of data, but no solid information that I could hang my hat on. I didn't give up, though. I invited a few trusted members of my team to accompany me on an expedition to Peru. A 4-day trip saw us arrive at the South American forest, a heavily forested place, an ideal place for a king to hide his treasure. The forest was full of wild animals, and we were attacked several times. Every night, we would have insect bites all over our bodies. Still, I didn't lose hope in spite of these adversities. All evidence pointed to a place called the Tiger's Eye, somewhere in the middle of the forest. It was believed to be a lava tube or cave of some sort with a lava flow that went deep into the earth. When we reached what we believed to be our destination, we were so tired. Yet, my enthusiasm and face drove me to want to go down into the hole immediately. My team warned me to exercise caution, but I was too excited. Too close to potentially achieving my life's dream. I rigged a rope and began lowering myself down into the hole. I quickly learned that this had been a mistake. The air in the hole was scalding hot. Sparks were rising with the hot air flow up and out of the hole. The rope started smoldering where small sparks in the stifling air uptake had clung to the rope, creating small burning embers. I began to worry that my rope might burn through and drop me into this hellhole. But right before I started to pull myself back up, I glimpsed something shiny. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw flashes of gold tint embedded in the rock and glinting in the faint sunlight glow from above. I climbed out of the hole, soaking in sweat, sucking in the cool, refreshing air to expel the burning air from my lungs. I told my team about the veins of gold in the walls of the hole. We set up a camp for a few weeks and were able to extract a small fortune's worth of gold. It wasn't King Pedro's gold treasure, but it was close enough to make our expedition worthwhile. It was a great discovery in that my trip wasn't completely in vain. Can I call my dream a success? In people's lives, there are unbelievable coincidences that no one could imagine happening. During those times, you have to ask yourself, is this real or is it a joke? Here is such a story. I am John, and I am 15 years old. I live with my parents and my sister Rona. I'm immensely popular at school, and have lots of friends, and I'm the captain of our school football team. I also used to play guitar in a small band, consisting of me and my friends. We would hold concerts at clubs and our friends' homes. My only flaw is that I like making fun of people. I just can't stay quiet when I see something conspicuous, obtrusive, or ostentatious. My teasing sometimes hurts people, but honestly, I never worry much about hurting people's feelings. Little did I know that a day of reckoning was coming. One day, my parents were traveling to visit my aunt to see her new baby, and I was returning from camping out with my friends. When I got home, I found a note from Mom asking me to buy some items from the store, so I went to the supermarket. The supermarket owner was a kind gentleman named Henry. When I entered, I didn't see him, so I called out to him. A strange voice answered from somewhere. It told me to do my shopping, and he/she would be out in a moment. I had just begun gathering the needed items in a shopping cart when I was surprised by a voice behind me that asked, "How may I help you, sir?" I looked around to see a short man around the age of 40. He looked a little like Gollum in the Lord of the Rings movie. I laughed out loud. He smiled at me but had no idea why I was laughing. I told him that he looked like Gollum from the movie, and he asked me if I had a problem with that. I told him that it was his problem, not mine. I asked him if he ate like a human or if he ate raw fish like Gollum. I asked him to ring up my items before I died laughing. He looked a little annoyed by my teasing, belittling behavior. As I was leaving, I tossed him an apple and told him that, living in a cave for such a long time, he needed to eat some fruit to stay healthy. Then I laughed again. Once I got home, I called my friends and told them about Gollum, and invited them to visit me the next day. They brought over a few raw fish, and we went to the supermarket and threw the fish on the floor. One of my friends said, "Oh dear, I've dropped my fish." Then we ran out of the store. Mr. Gollum came out and cleaned up the floor with a look of annoyance. We repeated this prank several times. Sometimes we would throw rotten fruits, and sometimes one of us would rush in and make a mess and then run away. His reactions made us roll on the floor laughing. It was great entertainment. On our way to school on our first day of the new school semester, we stopped by the supermarket to tease Gollum some more, but he was nowhere to be found, so we proceeded to school. At school, we learned that we would have a new teacher who was reportedly very tough. When the principal came in with the new teacher to introduce him, we were shocked to find out our new teacher was none other than Gollum, or Mr. Travis, as the principal called him. He said hello to the class and asked everyone to sit down except for my friends and me. He told us that our first lesson would be about housekeeping and that my friends and I would be cleaning the classrooms, the schoolyards, and the toilets, but only after class was over. My friends and I had to remain standing during the whole class. Mr. Travis came over to me and whispered in my ear that he was going to teach me and my friends some manners. It was the most difficult school period of my life. My friends and I learned a valuable lesson. Don't make fun of someone because he may be your boss someday. I must leave you now because I have to clean the restrooms. Surrounded by many of her friends and neighbors, I leaned in close to her and whispered, "Hi, Mom. This is Carlos. I came to see how you were doing. Drug dealing, weapons dealing, kidnapping, theft, you name it, and I've done it. I am not particularly proud of this lifestyle, but hey, it's a living. My twin brother, Virgil, on the other hand, chose the other side of the law. He was a police officer, and he always worked the night shift. I tried many times to get him to come over to the dark side, so to speak. I told him he could make his whole year's salary in a matter of hours, but he always refused. He would say that he couldn't take blood money. Mom agreed with his honest, legitimate lifestyle, so I eventually left home to do my own thing. I lost track of Mom and Virgil for years, until a friend informed me one day that my brother had been arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison. This incredible event had happened just a few hours after our most recent burglary. My friend also told me that the news said that my mom was terribly ill. It turned out that Virgil had been arrested trying to steal some expensive medicine to save her life. I became livid. I rushed to Mom's house to find her on her deathbed, surrounded by many of her friends and neighbors. I leaned in close to her and whispered, "Hi, Mom. This is Carlos. I came to see how you were doing." She opened her eyes and smiled, but she looked so sad and wistful. She said, "Please, try to see your brother one last time before he goes to prison." I asked her to forgive me and promised her that I would do so. Then I concocted a crazy plan. I dressed as a policeman, forged a visitation permit, and tricked the police station holding my brother into letting me visit him in an interrogation room. While I was questioning Virgil under the watchful eye of officers on the other side of the interrogation room's one-way mirror, I surreptitiously dialed a number on my cell phone and whispered into it, "Go." At that moment, the power and lights went out throughout the police station. I explained my plan and rationale to my brother and persuaded him to change clothes with me. Virgil left in my stead and once again lived as a free man on the outside while I went to prison in his place. I did this to put myself right in my mom's eyes. I think she'd be proud of me. Virgil, I'll see you in 10 years, brother.